Welcome to this 13th edition of the Jump Forum. My goodness, I wouldn't have ever thought that we would have done so many Jump Forums, and now we are doing them in Paris and in Lyon. So many changes occurred in 12 years in terms of gender equality. I must admit that at the beginning, I didn't understand very well what it was about. I had the will of making the right place for women in the companies and in the economy. And I thought that I had to deal with empowering women. And at that time, the Jump Forum was called the Forum for Active Women. That means that it was really dedicated only to women, and it was about empowering them. And what does it mean, empowering women, at that time at least? It was somehow fixing women, making them men as others. And I made a big mistake. So step by step, I learned that it was absolutely not the way that we would have more women in our companies, that we would have, at the end of the day, a share of power. Because this is what it is about, the share of power. We are half of the population. We are more than half of the graduates, almost 60%. So this is huge. We dare to have really the place that we deserve. Many things have changed. We had the quotas, for example, and I take the opportunity of having the Deputy Prime Minister here, Alexander De Croo, because, Alexander, do you know that we are the only country in Europe that has a quota regulation for women on boards that doesn't respect it? So, Guberna just issued a number, 20%. 20% of the quoted companies don't respect the regulation. But you don't have so much noise about it. And Joël Milquet and, what was it, Peter de Klerk at that time? I don't remember. Stéphane de Klerk had foreseen some penalties for the companies that don't respect the regulation. For sure, if there is a law, you have to have the penalties. But nothing is happening. So we have done a very long way, but there are still so many things that must happen in order to have real gender equality. We know now that diversity without inclusion is worthwhile. Diversity doesn't stick without inclusion. So it's not only a question of numbers, it's a question of culture. It's a change of mindset. We are really in changing times, because 80% of the couples nowadays do work, both of them, women and men. That means that the definition of masculinity, femininity are changing. The definition of the traditional roles, breadwinner for the man, caregiver for the women, are changing. We can create our own way of being women and men, and this is a huge freedom, and it's the first time in the history of humanity that we have that freedom here in this country, in this part of the world, in Europe. And so many things occurred, but so many things have still to change in order to really achieve concrete, real gender equality. We wanted to, for the 13th edition of the Jump Forum, it's not only the moment where we can look backwards, but also where we need to look ahead. And we are in a massive transformation of our society. One very important point of this transformation is the digital revolution. So we wanted to see what kind of impact it has on women. We wanted to see what kind of impact the services produced by digital and the products have on gender stereotypes, biases. we wanted to analyze the impact of gender equality at work with digital transformation, because we know that the figures are not good. Following a report of the European Commission, which is called Women in the Digital Age, on all the ICT graduates in Belgium, there are only 2.5% of women. ICT graduates, 2.5. We are really at the bottom of the European ranking. Yes, of course, not all the person working in digital must have this kind of qualification. For sure not. But anyhow, it's a good measurement. We are something like 20% in STEM studies. We are 20%, at least these are the figures for Europe, in digital jobs. But only 6% of the employees of the startup, technological startup, 6% of the employees, which is really absolutely nothing. And when we look at the figure of the female founders of a technological startup, this is really ridiculous. In average in Europe, we are at 15%. That means female founders only, or female founders together with male founders, 15%. But we are much lower than that number in Belgium. I'm not sure, I don't want to give, Alexander, do you have a precise figure on that for the female tax? It's really even lower, because for France, there are a lot of statistics, and we know precisely that they are 9%. Generally speaking, France is very similar to Belgium. But look at that, they obtain only 5% of the global venture capital. So even if they are 15% in Europe, they get only 5% of the capital. And when you have a pitch, you know, a pitch to investors, there was a research made on this, exactly the same pitch, done by a male voice or a female voice. Guess what? 68% of the investors preferred the pitch and decided to invest in the pitch with the male voice, 68%. So we still have a long way to go. It's really an outrageous picture of the reality. But at JUMP, we dare to make very strong statements. And we have the faith of conviction, the faith of determination. So this is why we really wanted to have the kind of conversation we have today on digital transformation and its impact on gender equality. We wanted to make an inquiry. We wanted to make an inquiry only on women, to analyze their perception of digital transformation and analyze also their position in this killing challenge. And we found out that they are really prepared and that they want to jump into digital transformation. The female talent pool is there and is waiting. The career-minded women, because pay attention, this was done on a bit more than 430 completely surveys. Now we have achieved 600, something like that. But for sure, it's on a specific target. It's the population, generally, I would say the community of JUMP, which is made by women that are really much dedicated to their job, I would say even to their career. They are highly qualified and so on. So it doesn't represent all women, the whole population. But these career-minded women are aware that they will need to digitally upskill for their careers. They are motivated to do so, first of all, by the services and the purpose. Second, by the career opportunities. and not by the technology. So it's not for the technology per se that they want to go for it. It's for the purpose, for the services that it can offer, and also for the career perspective, of course. The statement that we do, the highlights that the survey shows us is that women still need to take even more ownership of their lifelong learning. They need to choose the companies that will support that upskilling. A big percentage of the women that answered the survey said, I'm okay to change my job within the same company, but I'm also okay to change company. And I think this is a good signal. That means that you take really ownership of your life and of your career. So that means that employers really need to identify and attract women with this learning agility. They need to provide what we just said in the previous session, not only a work-life balance, but a work-life-learn balance, environment. They need to provide that environment that enables their human capital to grow. They need also to change that non-inclusive culture that most of them had, and especially the digital teams. They need to acknowledge that there is a problem in the culture of the digital teams. So JUMP is not, as you have just heard, is not only about events. It's not only about campaign communication. It's not only about training. We give a lot of training in your companies. It's not only about consultancy. We do try to, we do accompany many companies that want really to embed that change of culture to become much more inclusive. It's also about creating content. You have seen the results of the survey that was just exposed to you. If you want to take part to the survey, I would be really, really happy that you do so. If you go on the application web of the JUMP Forum, you have it at the end of the homepage. But anyhow, we will send you. As a participant of the JUMP Forum, we will send you the link after the JUMP Forum. And we have made something that I'm very proud of. We have made this. This is the very first handbook against sexism in the workplace, but it is targeted to HR people, to D&I people, to top leaders in the company. Because you have many tools, many books, many whatsoever that helps people that are discriminated, that are victims, in order not to be victims anymore. Fine with that. And we have done, JUMP has done a lot of them. But the person that are really responsible are not the victims. The person that are responsible are you, ladies and men that are in this room, because you manage these companies. You can do something about it. So this guide is available for free at the JUMP Academy stand in the networking area. We have also prepared for you a kit of posters, because this is for you, but then you have to raise the awareness of your employees about sexism. What is sexual harassment? Everybody knows what it is, but benevolent sexism is a bit more complicated. And so we have produced also for free, a kit of posters that will enable you to raise awareness about that. So, before giving the word to the first keynote speaker of this session, I wanted just to make a conclusion remark on the first result, the preliminary results of this survey. We need a talent revolution, for sure. We need a talent revolution for this digital revolution. The companies need no longer to be passive consumers of ready-made human capital. No. The companies need really to put at the center of their strategy the change of culture, but also the growth of talent within their companies, and upscaling is really the key word. There is one company today that has welcomed us in this beautiful venue that is going through a very difficult transformation. A very, very difficult transformation. They are very lucky, I think, to have a leader that is a very good leader, that shows that can listen to others. She can listen to others. She is humble, but she knows exactly where she wants to go, and she knows how she wants to go. And I have the real pleasure to invite her on the stage. It's Dominique Leroy.